Okay, 3.1, quadratic functions. So a parent function of a quadratic function is a parabola that's facing up where the vertex is at 0, 0. Your domain would be negative infinity to positive infinity. My range is 0 to infinity because it does not cross the y-axis, or the x-axis. It is decreasing and increasing both on 0 infinity because that's its turning point, so it decreases there and it increases there. The axis of symmetry is x equals 0 and the relative minimum is 0, 0, which is the vertex.
Wait, why is the range 0 and negative?
Because it's not going to cross over the x-axis, it's not going to go into the negatives. Okay? So, we are going to do a lot of graphing by hand today and comparing it to parent functions. When your book tells you to graph something by hand and compare it to a parent function, what I need you to do is tell me in words and also tell me in, with graphing, with showing it in a graph, what that looks like. Is Gracie here today?
Hey, that was
Yes,
2-5.
she's right now.
Okay. Perfect.
What?
Okay, so sketch a graph of the function by hand and compare it to the function of f of x equals x squared. First of all, f of x equals x squared is a parent function. How do I graph that?
It's gonna open down. Oh wait, never mind. That's A.
Hi.
This is gonna open up.
It's gonna open up, where's my vertex? 0, 0. If I plug in a 1, I get a 1 out, right?
Yeah.
Negative 1, you get 1 out. If you plug in a 4, you get a 2 out. No, yes. I mean, if I plug in a 2, I get a 4 out. If I could tell. So I'm gonna have this as my parent function, okay? Represent it in black.
Wait, Peter,
Yes?
the parent function is negative x squared plus 1.
No, the parent function is f of x equals
Oh,
x
that's
squared.
good.
Okay, now, we have to graph the next function. The next function says g of x equals negative x squared plus 1. What do you know about that graph, tell
It's
you?
gonna open down,
It's gonna flip down.
and then it's gonna go 1 to the right.
Okay, so what's my
Radius
vertex
doesn't
gonna
count.
be?
0, 1.
Why do you know that for
I
sure?
mean x. 1, 0. Wait, hold on.
What?
Yeah.
No, you're right, 0, 1.
Oh, 0, 1.
You were right, 0, 1, but why do you know that?
Because it's a 1 right there.
Okay, that tells you the y of the vertex, yes?
Yes.
How do you find the x of the vertex technically in this situation?
Plug in numbers.
No.
One,
Is it just there?
Mm-mm.
you use your graphing calculator.
No.
So what do I think?
What form is this technically in?
Slope.
Standard form. Standard form. And to find the vertex in standard form, to find the x part, you do the opposite of b over 2a. What is b?
1.
No.
No.
Nothing. 0. There isn't a b there because there's not something that says plus
That's
x.
the first one.
So b is 0. So 0 over 2 times negative 1 is just 0. So my vertex is 0, 1. That's how I find my vertex in this situation.
Negative b over what?
So do we just plug that into
Negative
our
b
calculator?
over
Over
2a is how you find the vertex, the x part. And then you would plug the x back in to find the y.
So
Yes.
we just plug that into our calculator to get that graph though?
No, because it says sketch it by hand, so you have to show me all the shifts. Yes.
Exactly, you just copy our calculator.
You plug the, once I figure out what the x is, guys, stop talking. Once I figure out what the x is, it's 0. You plug it back into the equation to get the y output for your vertex. So when I plug 0 in here, I get 1 out.
0, 1.
So 0, 1 is my new vertex, 0, 1. Right here. And then to graph this, I now have to plug a number in so that I can reflect it over. I'm gonna plug in 1, because it's simple. If you plug in 1, okay, you get this.
Can you just reflect the one you already have?
No, that's the vertex.
No, I meant the, like, I don't know how it was called, but like the graph you already drew, you just move it up one and flip it.
I wanna see the work, because here's the deal, when the vertex doesn't just move up and it moves over here and whatever, you would have to shape each point accordingly, and I wanna see you actually plug in points. Cause in the long run, you're gonna make less mistakes this way. So if I plug in 1 and square it, you get 1, and then that means I get negative 1 plus 1, which gives me 0. so I get 1, 0 as my point. That reflects over, there's my
I knew
graph. Now, in words, tell me what happened.
It shifted up
It
one.
shifted.
and-
Reflection.
Well, reflected over the.
Okay, so compared,
It's a reflection.
Reflection over the x-axis.
Good.
And vertical shift 1 unit on the y-axis.
thank you.
I wish I had one.
Yeah, cool.
That was the A plus.
Oh,
You have a reflection
In the dark. And then bang your head on the counter.
over the x-axis and a vertical shift. I like those terms.
Thank you. I retarded. I'm thinking English. Shut up.
Good, beautiful. That's what I wanna see. Now, let's do part B. What form is this in?
A whole mess.
That's it, the vertex
The
form.
vertex form, so what is my vertex?
2, 3, I don't know.
-2, -3. It's opposite of what this is, and this stays the same. So my vertex is -2, -3.
We did it last year.
Yes, we did do this last year. -2, -3. There's my vertex, okay? Now from there, I'm just gonna plug a point in again and get something to flip over. Yeah, I'm gonna plug in -1 since it's right next to that. If I plug in -1, you get this, -1 plus 2 squared minus 3. -1 plus 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, so you get 1 minus 3, which is,
Negative
-2.
2.
so I'm gonna graph -1, -2. -1, -2 graphs here, it reflects over. There's that parabola. Okay, now in words, compared to the parent function, what?
No, I don't.
Shift 2 units to the left, 3 units down.
Good.
Sir.
That's the A plus answer right there. Don't ever do that again.
The graph shifts 2 units to the left.
See.
Okay, so on your homework, when you are comparing, even if it does not tell you, you have to give me a graph and you have to give it to me in words. Okay, and you can do more than one graph on something, just color code it or label it, use different colors, makes it easy.
Colors are colorful.
Okay, standard form. Standard form of a parabola is what equation? Y equals what?
Oh,
X
X
plus
plus B plus C.
X squared plus bx plus c.
Hey.
What is vertex form?
X
It's K and
equals
something, ain't it?
Y equals,
X plus, or X
It's X
plus.
to be A times
X
X
plus H. Oh.
minus
X
H.
Plus K.
Plus
Yeah.
A.
Plus K. And H and K are my vertex. What's intercept form?
Y equals MX plus B.
No.
No,
That's
that's a
slow,
Y equals,
A.
It
A,
was a good guess.
I don't know this one.
It's X minus P, X minus Q, because those are your X intercepts. Now, for standard form, to find the vertex, right, we use the opposite of B over 2A to find the X
I have a
part,
question.
okay, of the vertex. Yes, Tyler?
It's legit. So why do they, I just don't understand, why is it different letters? Like, why can't they just?
Because these are the vertex, these are X intercepts, they're not a vertex.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're different letters, they're different things.
Alright.
Okay? Now listen, in your book, this book is different than the book that you dealt with last year. When it says write something in standard form, it wants it in vertex form. In this book, their standard form is vertex form. Okay? So when it's asking that, you need to understand, like on page 247, it gives a box and it says standard form of a quadratic function. It gives it in vertex form. So this book talks about it in, that this is standard form. Okay?
So we use vertex form twice, and we don't even use the other standard form then?
No, they just don't refer to this as anything. You'll see it in that form. You'll see it in what we know as standard form, and you'll have to solve and graph it and all that stuff. But they just won't call it anything. They'll just say, solve this quadratic equation. Or graph this quadratic function, okay?
Wait, how did you
You
find
still look at X.
Like
Okay, vertex here,
What you doing that right
the vertex for this vertex form is given to me. It's opposite of this, so it's H, and then K stays the same. Down here, you get the vertex by doing this. You take P minus Q over 2. That's how you find the X part of the vertex, and then you would plug that in and find the Y. Okay? When you are graphing your intercepts on this one, your intercepts are opposite of what they are. So it's P0 and Q0. They're always opposite. If they're in parentheses with X, it's always opposite of what sign is there. Okay? We're gonna do this today, but we're also doing more tomorrow because we're not gonna get through all of this.
Oh, why can't we have Thanksgiving started today?
Okay, so let's talk about this. It says describe the graph of f of x equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 7. Identify the vertex. Okay? So, we need to figure out what the vertex is, and we also need to tell what's happening with this graph. In order to tell what's happening, we need to find the vertex first. How would you find the vertex?
Negative b over 2x.
Oh, it can't remember. Is that what you're gonna say?
Well, no, but,
What? You have a
no,
question?
no, I don't have a question.
Okay. So I'm gonna take the opposite of b over 2a to find the x of the vertex. What is b?
Negative
Negative
8.
So I put, yeah,
4 equals negative 2.
over 2 times 2. So negative 8 over 4, which gives you,
Negative 2.
what do I have to do with that?
Plug.
Plus 7? No?
Plug it in to find the y, correct?
What do you do
So
with 7?
2 times negative 2 squared, what'd you say, Junior?
What do you do with 7?
Boy, will you wait? Will you just wait?
Oh, you just plug it back up.
Hold on.
Yeah, just plug it back in.
Yeah.
What's negative 2 squared?
4.
4 times 2 is
Wait.
4 times 2.
8.
8. What's negative 2 times 8?
Negative 16.
And plus 7. So 7 plus 8 minus 16 is negative 1.
Negative 1.
Wait,
So
so
your vertex is negative 2, negative 1. If I know what my vertex is, I can now describe in words what's going on. Yes, Jenner?
wait, so it says identify the vertex, so you use the standard, right?
Yeah, we use what we know as standard form right here. And we use that equation to find the x of the vertex, which is negative 2. You plug it back in, you find the y of the vertex, and you make your vertex.
So shift to 2 left and 1.
Yeah, so then I would write it in words. That the last step I have to do is describe what's happening. So compared to the parent function, this shifts left 2 and right 1, right?
Down 1.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Compared to the parent. Okay, and so those are the things that they were asking us to find. Identify the vertex, describe the graph. What else do you know about the graph? Anything else? One other thing you can kind of
It
just,
opens up.
good, and it opens up. Beautiful, okay. So on identifying things, we're gonna do it that way. We're gonna just decide what's happening. Okay, last thing for today. Describe this graph, identify the x-intercepts.
It's a graph.
So you
It's
do,
gonna open down.
you do the same thing.
How can I, no, I
Wait,
wanna
you
find
put
the
it-
x-intercepts, not the vertex.
Put it intercept form.
How do you put in intercept
You
form?
take the edge, so that's negative 1.
Okay, you wanna factor that negative out, so that it's written like this? And then x squared minus 6x plus 8, factor the negative out?
Yes.
Okay, what do I have to do with this then?
Factory.
Factor it, I just have to factor
Yeah.
it. What multiplies to give me 8 adds to give me
X
negative
minus
6.
2, X minus 4.
X
Minus 2, x minus 4.
minus 2, thank you, x minus 4.
On the go.
So what are my intercepts then?
2 and 4. Oh, negative. Wait, 2 and 4. Would that be negative?
2 and 4.
No, it's opposite.
2.
But if there's that negative there.
2, 0. Oh, because that block, that A? That's fine, that tells us something else out there.
That goes down.
Thank you.
There you go.
So my intercepts are 2, 0, 4, 0.
It's gonna
Okay.
open down.
And now we just have to write in words that what happens with this graph. So we know that the graph is reflected over the x-axis, right?
Yeah.
What is that?
Okay. But we have now is our vertex, our intercepts, yes? So we know that the graph comes here at 2 and at 4. The problem is to describe what else is happening with this graph, what do you actually need to know?
The vertex
The vertex, how do you find the vertex?
by negative b over 2a.
No,
No, p minus q over 2.
p minus q over 2. So 4 minus 2
Over 2 is
over 2 gives you
1.
1. That's the x of the vertex. Now what am I gonna do with that?
Plug it in.
Plug it in here, okay? So then I have y equals negative, and then I have 1 minus 2, and 1 minus 4, right? Y equals negative. So what do you get? Y equals what?
1 and
What's negative times
Oh,
negative 1 times negative 3?
It
That's
can't.
positive,
Give
negative
me my
is
phone.
3.
Yep,
so
it's negative.
3.
Negative 3. So my vertex is
1 negative 3.
1 negative 3. So what does that tell me also?
That's not the middle.
That's not it. That
That's-
doesn't make sense.
That's right above the, that's.
P minus Q divided by 2. Is it P minus Q or is it P plus?
Wait, when did b,
Yeah.
3 over 1? 3 comma 1.
3 comma 1.
It's 3-1.
Yeah, it's gonna be halfway between 2 and 4.
Yeah, the 3 comma 1, because it's 2 and 4.
So it's P plus Q.
It's P plus Q. Okay, so it's P plus Q. So then you get 2. No,
3.
3. I can't think, I'm sorry. And then you get this.
So 1 and 1, so 1, yeah.
1 and negative 1, so positive 1. Okay. So it's 3, 1. 3, 1, and that would face down. Okay. So then what happens, what's the other thing we can tell?
That it shifted.
It shifts.
Shifts, to the right 3 up 1.
It's right, 3, up, 1. Beautiful. That's what we're gonna work on tonight. Those things. And tomorrow we'll work on more.